Masters, today we will learn about the fourth secret. It is embrace silence. Today's secret is about silence. Solitude in the sense of being often alone is essential to any depth of meditation or of character. And solitude in the presence of natural beauty and grandeur is the cradle of thought and aspiration, which are not only good for the individual but which society could ill do without. John S. Mill quotation, this one. Next is second quotation. Perhaps one of the greatest rewards of meditation and prayer is the sense of belonging that comes to us. This is the quotation from Bill W. We go into the chapter fourth secret, embrace silence. You live in a noisy world, constantly bombarded with loud music, sirens, construction, equipment, jet airplanes, rumbling trucks, leaf blowers, lawn mowers, tree cutters. These human-made unnatural sounds invade your senses and keep silence at bay. In fact, you are being raised in a culture that not only eschews silence but is terrified of it. The car radio must always be on, and any pause in conversation is a moment of embarrassment that most people quickly fill with chatter. For many, being alone is a nightmare, and being alone in silence is pure torture. The famous scientist Blaise Pascal observed all man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. The value of silence. There is a momentary silence in the space between your thoughts that you can become aware of with practice. In this silent space, you will find the peace that you crave in your daily life. So he's saying here, so from one thought to another thought, there is a space. That space is a silence. That silence, if you observe, it will bring you peace. He's saying here, Ben Dyer. You will never know that peace if you have no spaces between thoughts. So if you are continuously thinking one thing or other thing without any space between the thoughts, we won't have peace. He's saying. The average person is said to have 60,000 separate thoughts every day. With so many thoughts, there are almost no gaps. If you could reduce that number by half, so if you give some gap between one thought to another thought, if you reduce that thoughts number by half, you would open up entire world of possibilities. So everything is possible for you if you reduce that gap for yourself. For it is when you merge into the silence and become one with it that you reconnect to your source. So when we are silent, we will reconnect to our source and know the peacefulness that some call God. Be still and know that I am God. Says it so beautifully in the Psalms of the Old Testament. So Old Testament, they mention that be still and know that I am God. The keyword are still and know. Be still actually means silence. Mother Teresa described silence and its relationship to God by saying, God is the friend of silence. So Mother Teresa told God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, grass grow in silence. See the stars, moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need to silence to be able to touch souls. This includes your soul. So you need silence to touch your own soul. It's really the space between the notes that makes the music you enjoy so much. Without the spaces, all you would have is one continuous noisy note. Everything that's created comes out of silence. Your thoughts emerge from the nothingness of silence. Your words come out of this void. Your very essence emerges from emptiness. So we all came from emptiness, he's saying here, other even words and thoughts, everything came from silence. So silence, where everything emerges or creates, he's saying here. Those who will supersede us are waiting in the vast void. All creativity requires some stillness. Your sense of inner peace depends on spending some of your life energy in silence. So when we spend some of our life energy, we will recharge our battery, he's saying. So when we recharge our battery, we will remove our tension, anxiety, reacquaint you with the joy of knowing God and feel closer to all humanity. So when you maintain silence, you will have the joy of knowing God and also you feel closer to all humanity. Silence reduces fatigue and allows you to experience your own creative juices. The second word in Old Testament observation, know, refers to making your personal and conscious contact with God. So knowing is, here he's saying it's like a conscious contact with God. To know God is to banish doubt and become independent of others' definition. So knowing God means we have to banish our doubts, then become independent others' description of God. So we have to experience ourselves instead of depending on others' definition, others' description of God. We can experience ourselves if we are silent, God. You have your own personal knowing. And as Melville reminded us so prominently, God's one and only voice is silence. So he's telling one more quote here, God's one and only voice is silence. Accessing more silence in your life. I urge you to demand more and more time for silence in your life. One of the most effective ways to bring this about is to make meditation a daily practice. So how we will be silent is when we meditate. So if you meditate every day, like daily practice, we will bring the silence into our life, he's saying. And remember, there is no such thing as a bad meditation. Give yourself time to sit quietly alone. At first, your thoughts will take off trying to convince you that this is a waste of time. So initially, our thoughts will tell us this is a waste of time, don't sit like this idle. That you should be out there being productive. So you're not doing anything now, you're not productive now. That's what our thoughts says initially. And that you have got so many other things, and it will remind you, oh, you have to do that, you have to do that, like that. Other tasks it will remind you when you sit in silent. Hundreds of other unrelated thoughts also will open up, will pop in and out of your mind. But you can weather this thunderstorm of mental protestations by sitting quietly. So this thunderstorm, you have to protest by sitting quietly and becoming the observer to all of this inner chatter. So you just become observer and listen all this inner chatter that your mind says. Eventually you will be able to move to the gaps between your thoughts. So if you keep on doing that, even the inner chatter is going on, but you are sitting every day some particular time, what will happen is you will maintain the gap between your thoughts. Eventually you will be able to move to the gaps between your thoughts and notice how peaceful. So in between the thoughts, you feel so peaceful, right? You will notice that how peaceful you are if you don't have a thought. You felt in that silent gap when you emerge from it. Try it right now. Use the Lord's Prayer. First, concentrate on the word our and then Father. So he's talking about that prayer, our Father. Try to go into the gap between the two words, our and Father. So there is a prayer, right? Our Father. So in that, go between the words gap, our and Father. Then do it again. Who and art in heaven. This is the next line of word in that prayer. Who and art in heaven. Just slip moment into the gap and notice how peaceful, ecstatic you feel in that gap. So when you are praying also, between two words, you see the gap, see how peaceful in that gap he's suggesting here. I teach a meditation which I describe in detail and guide you through with my voice in a CD or cassette called Meditations for Manifesting. So when I are having a CD, that CD name is Meditations for Manifesting. This meditation uses the sound of ah as a mantra to keep your thoughts from wandering during the morning meditation. This mantra sound is on virtually all names of the divine. So ah anedi, it's a mantra he's saying. So for example, how he take this mantra is names of all gods. So listen for it. For example, in God, Yehovah, Allah, Krishna, Jehovah, Ra, Ta, by representing this mantra sound, you make conscious contact with God. So every mantra has ah in that, he's saying. Every name of the God is having ah. The evening meditation is the sound of Om. So he made evening meditation with the sound Om. The sound gratitude for all that has manifested in your life. Repeating the sound of ah in the morning, Om in the evening, for approximately 20 minutes. So that meditations for manifesting, he is used these sounds he is explaining here. 20 minutes he's chanting that mantra continuously, creating an opportunity for you to experience inner peace and success in a way you may have ever known before. So if you do this chanting, mantra chanting 20 minutes, he's suggesting us. But in our case, as we know meditation, silent meditation, we can do meditation without any mantras. There are many opportunities to access silence. I try to meditate each time I stop at a red light with car stopped and my body inactive. So even he's telling we can do meditation at red light when we stop the car at red light also. When the car stopped and my body inactive, frequently the only thing still moving are the thoughts in my mind. So generally, when we stop at the red light, we some other thoughts are coming. I use those 2 minutes so at the stoplight to bring my mind into harmony with my inner car and body. So we can use that 2 minutes for thinking, or we can use that 2 minutes for bringing inner harmony, inner car and body, inert car and body, harmony with my inert car and body. I get a wonderful bonus of silence. I probably stop at red light 20 to 30 times a day, creating 40 minutes to an half an hour of silence. So he's calculating if you stop at a red light 20 times a day, 20 or 30 times. So 20 into 2 minutes is 40 minutes. 40 minutes, he completed his meditation. He's telling, right, do morning 20 minutes, evening 20 minutes meditation. So he completed his meditation like that, he's saying. There is always someone behind me to let me know that my time is up by breaking the silence with a honking horn. So anyhow, somebody will honk horn behind me. So then I know green light is there. Meditation. He has to come out from meditation. Meditation not only affects you; it impacts everyone around you. When you are at peace, you radiate different kind of energy. So how it impacts others is telling the explanation. So when we are at peace, the energy inside us will vary. Different kind of energy than when you are stressed or depressed. So when we are stressed or depressed, we have different energy that we will give to others. But when we are at peace, we will give different energy to others. The more peaceful you become, the easier you can deflect the negative energies of those you encounter. So even though you face a negative person, still you can give them positive energies if you meditate. This is like having an invisible shield around you. So meditation will protect you with an invisible shield that nothing can penetrate unless it's a higher spiritual energy than your shield. So only other person, a negative person can affect you, only cannot affect you. Only who will affect you is who is having more higher energy than you, like Patriji, Ramana Maharshi, like that kind of people only can affect you, not a negative person. A hostile current is greeted with a smile and inner knowing that this is not your stuff. A person who attempts to bring you into their misery cannot succeed. So if somebody came purposefully ridicule you, purposefully want to see you are miserable, they cannot get success if you meditate. They cannot succeed without your agreement. So because when you meditate, you won't agree for that, right? You don't want to be in the misery. You want to be happy. You want to be peaceful always. So they cannot succeed even they try also. Your meditation practice keeps you immune from all these things. Not only can you deflect the negativity of those around you, but your sense of peace will bring others into harmony with you. So he's telling how our relations will improve if you meditate. So one thing is other person negativity won't affect you. Second thing is your sense of peace will bring everybody like to spend time with you. Everybody want your company like that. Your sense of peace will bring others into harmony with you. Studies have done to measure the serotonin, a neurotransmitter in your brain that indicates how peaceful and harmonious you feel. So serotonin levels are those in the vicinity of a large group of meditators. Amazingly, just being in the energy field of those who meditate raises the serotonin levels of the observers. These implications are startling. The more you achieve peacefulness through meditation, the more your peaceful state impacts those around you. So when you go to higher levels in meditation, you impact other people more. I find that my meditating not only calms me but has a soothing effect on my family. First, it will impact the family. They'll have calm. They'll also be calm, and those around me also. But the primary benefit is that after a meditation, I find it almost impossible to be annoyed or negatively impacted by anything. So he felt that He cannot be annoyed by anyone, whatever questions other person asks, whatever criticism other person did, he won't be annoyed. And also, he cannot be negatively impacted by other one. Meditation seems to bring me into contact with the source of some soothing energy that makes me feel deeply connected to God. So meditation can also make him feel that he is deeply connected to God. Making conscious contact with God. Most organized religions have taken on the task of explaining God to their congregations, including all of the rules that God supposedly has laid out for humankind. You cannot come to know God through the experience or testimony of others. This must be done by you. So you can't experience God, somebody is telling or some testimonies. You have to experience yourself. I urge you to meditate because it will bring you more peace, remove stress, improve your surroundings, and deflect negativity. All of this and more will definitely show up when you meditate regularly. So, this, if you want to feel all this, you have to do regularly. Daily, you have to do the meditation. I include the embracing of silence as one of my top 10 secrets for inner peace and success. Primarily because it's the only vehicle I know for making conscious contact with God. So, meditation is the only vehicle, meditation and silence is the only vehicle that you can have a contact with God. God is that which is indivisible. There is only one omnipresent presence called God. This presence is everywhere and is a force that creates and sustains life. It can never be divided or cut into pieces. There is only one power in the universe, not two. Everything in your experience as a human being appears to be in duality. However, up exists because of its opposite, down. So, up exists because of its opposite, down. Light exists because of dark. Right exists because of wrong. You are never seen a person with a front who doesn't have a back. An outside without inside, North Pole of a magnet without South Pole. Our physical world is a world of dichotomies and combinations of opposites, always divisible. So our physical world is divisible. It will always have opposite. Happiness will have sad, like so everything is having opposites, right? Mm, so luxury will have pain, like that, suffering. World is a world of silence, however, is the one experience you can have that indivisible. So silence is indivisible. It cannot have other opposite silence. You cut silence in half and all you get is more silence. Even you cut the silence into half, you will get more silence. There's only one silence. Therefore, silence is your one way to experience the oneness and the indivisibility of God. So, how God is indivisible, He cannot be divided into two. Same way, silence also cannot be divided. So, you will experience God only through silence. This is why you want to meditate. This is how you know God rather than having settle for knowing about God. So, knowing about God we can do using books and all. But if you want to experience God, you have to do meditation. You will find your answers in the silence. If you want some answers also for your questions, you will find answers in the silence. Remember, it's out the void, the emptiness that everything is created. When you write a musical note, the silence from which it comes is just a much part of the note as it is the sound. So even musical notes also, it is having silence. So if you want to create a note, you in between silence also important. Going into the quiet and listening will inspire you. So and also that going if you are silent and listening, it will that silence if you are listening that will inspire us. I can't imagine speaking or writing without first going to God in silence. So Wayne Dyer always first go into silence, then only he writes something on his books or anything. I seek alone time and space to allow my inspiration to emerge. So for him to write, he need to inspire. He need inspiration for writing anything. So first he will sit in the alone. He will be sit alone, and he will have some alone space alone. Then only he will get inspired, and he will write any book. The wilderness is therapy. Any time in your life when you are feeling out of sorts in any way, go to nature and find your peace. So if you are not happy with your emotions or feelings, go to nature, then it will change you. It is telling. He is telling. Sending troubled teens to the wilderness to care for animals. So troubled teens, we have to send them to care for animals, commune with nature. almost always brings them peace and serenity. So then they'll get peace and serenity. Drug addictions disappear when young people are confronted with climbing a mountain, canoeing across a lake. People who have been diagnosed with terminal illness often find that months in a cabin in the isolated wilderness, meditating, communing with God is exact therapy. So, terminal illness, if you get terminal illness, any people, for them, the best therapy is meditating and spending months in the cabin, isolated wilderness. If you ever suffer from insomnia, walk barefoot on the grass for 10 minutes before getting into bed. So if you have sleep disorders and breathing disorders, you just walk on the grass barefoot 10 minutes, then that disorder will disappear, he's telling. Nature has marvelous way of healing many maladies. Try spending a day in an isolated spot, listening only to the sounds of nature. So even Satsai Baba says, if you get angry, just go to the bathroom and on the tap, listen the tap sound. Listening only to the sounds of nature, the birds, the insects, the rustling of leaves, the wind, these are the sounds of healing. So listening to the nature sounds is sounds of healing, he's saying here, that can offset the painful sounds of 18-wheelers, cement mixtures, boom boxes, and the like. Give yourself opportunity to be in the wilderness as a regular part of your life routine. Take a day each month or week to be alone and commune with God. This is the ultimate therapy, and it's much less expensive than paying someone to listen. So instead of going to psychiatrist, he's telling why will pay someone to listen psychiatrist, right? So instead of going to psychiatrist, he's telling spend the time with nature and listening sounds in the nature or do meditation. Keep your silent communion with God to yourself. Everything that you wish to manifest emerges from spirit, from the silence. You don't use your ego to manifest. In fact, ego can inhibit the creative process. For this reason, I urge you not to divulge your private insights, what you intend to create. St. Paul said, that which is seen hath not come from that which doth appear. When you talk about your emerging manifesting ideas and relate your insights to others, you often feel the need to explain and defend them. What happens is that ego has entered. Once the ego is present, the manifesting stops. So when you have ego, you cannot manifest, he's saying here. Silence is where manifesting occurs. So keep your potential miracles in that treasured silence that you embrace as often as possible. You can rely upon it, enjoy basking in the serenity and inner peace that silence and meditation always bring. So if you want peace or success in your life, you have to be follow silence. You have to be always maintain some silence in your life and by meditating also. Masters, with this, the fourth secret completed. I'll stop here. We will listen with the secret tomorrow.